Hi, thanks for checking out our channel. This is going to be an overview of this particular unit. This is the Gallagher MBS800. It's an 8 stored joule 5.9 output, so basically a 6 output joule unit. These are dual powered. They're run off of a plug-in battery or external 12-volt battery or a solar panel setup go with the battery in the unit. So they kind of a 3-in-1 sort of deal. Would you buy one? You have to buy, if you want to run off of a 12 volt, you have to get an external battery for it. They would recommend a deep cycle battery, especially if you're using a solar panel with it. You want to get a deep cycle battery. Those work a lot better with the solar setups than a regular car battery does. But we're going to go through this and kind of talk about it. It's a brand new unit that we've got here. There's information, fencerfixer.com. We're a repair place by trade, but the last couple of months we've kind of ventured off into the dealer side of things a little bit, and we don't push too much of selling stuff, but if someone calls and wants my recommendation, and we kind of give them our 2 cents on everything, because we work on all brands of these things, old style, new style. So I'm a repair guy by trade. I'm not really big into selling stuff, but we chose to go with Gallagher as like a dealer for them, just because of the quality. And they can't get much better than these things. These things are so good. As a repair guy, I don't hardly see any of the newer Gallaghers come in. Usually the Gallaghers we get in are 10, 15, 20, 30, 40-year-old units. And you can get a lot of parts for a lot of old units. Some units you can't get any parts for, but a lot of the older ones you can rebuild because they're old school electronics. You can fix the boards and stuff like that. But so a guy was quizzing us on some stuff, and he had a Stay-Fix X6 that he was using on a solar panel setup, and the X6 was about 4 years old. And he said, well, what do you think it's going to cost to fix this thing? I said, man, probably $250, $300, I don't know, something like that. It's not gonna be cheap because the parts aren't cheap. And he's like, I've only had the thing 4 years. I'm like, well, that's Stay-Fix for you. So speed right for you. They're just, and he opened up the unit, and the circuit board was just black as can be inside, just overheated. And that's just a common failure with them. I said, you can send it here, we'll fix it for you. It's going to cost a couple $100 at least, based on what you're telling me. He said, well, so I'd rather, what's a new one cost? I said, I don't know, $350, $400, something like that for a dual purpose unit like that. He was running on a solar panel deal. He said, well, what would you do? I said, well, I don't know, we could fix it for you. Or he told him about us being a dealer for the Gallagher brand. I said, we can look at a Gallagher unit for you if you choose to. Said, I mean, their units are so much better built. I mean, they're about the same price, maybe a little higher, a little lower, depending on what model you went with. I think actually he had an X6i is what he had. I think that's what he had, was an I version. But he never used a remote. He said I got it because it had a remote, and I never used a remote. He said, we use a fault finding part of it, but we don't use a remote. So I was like, well, if you don't care about the remote part of things, you can get just a basic unit. So I recommended the Gallagher MBS800 to him. It was basically the same power as what he had, and he went with it. He decided to buy one from us, so we went down and picked one up and brought it home today, and we're going to ship it out. But I want to make a video on it, just talk a little bit about it. Gallagher makes about 4 here in the States. They make about 3 or 4 units that are dual powered. This manual's on there. It talks about the MBS100. I don't think that's sold here. I think it's sold in another country, but they do sell the MBS200, 400, and 800. All of them are the same size unit as this one, case wise, but this a little bit bigger than a catcher's mitt. But they're all a little bit less guts on each one of them, depending on which one you went with. But these are really good units. As a repair guy, I don't see that these things hardly ever come. This is actually the second time I've ever seen one of these in front of me. We sold a guy, gosh, a month ago, MBS400 about a month and a half ago, and that's a pretty slick looking unit. And but I've never seen an 800 in front of me, this style anyways. So we're going to go through it and talk a little bit about it. Like I said, this is a dual purpose unit. It runs off a 12 volt or 120 volt. It comes with about everything you need besides the battery. It comes with a set of fence and ground leads. They're about 6 foot in length on there, and it just the knobs are really good quality knobs. They use stainless steel bolts, and they kind of have like a wide ring connector on there. So you can slide it right behind the bolt, like that. Put your knob back on there and just hand tighten. Don't crank it down with a pair of pliers. I've seen plenty of units, not this style, but plenty of other brands. People will take a pair of pliers and just crank on them things. They'll have a big old wire underneath there when they don't need that big a gauge. They'll crank on there, or they'll cross thread it, or whatever. And then they'll break the bolt off, or strip it out or whatever. I don't think there's a way to really cross thread these. These are pretty much real smooth. They're stainless steel, so those bolts probably outlast the rest of us. And then it comes with, like I said, it comes with your 12-volt cable. Has a red-black clamp there. I've got hooked up to my power supply. Also comes with a 120-volt plug that plugs into the unit, so you can swap them out. And it's pretty easy to swap out. You really can't make a mistake. You really can't get it in wrong. You just plug it in. Make sure it snaps in there, and it's pretty in there tight, so you don't have to really worry about it getting pulled out by accident. I mean, you got to tug on it to get it out of there, so it's a pretty good snug fit. So we put it in there, and then listen for the click. Then you know it's all the way in. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about what's on here on this switch here. Now, as a repair guy, from working on different brands and seeing some of the inner workings of things, I know by the switch itself, this is the same switch that Gallagher uses on their S10, S16, and S20 and other solar units. There's a magnet behind the switch here, so it's a magnetic pickup that talks to the circuit board inside here. So it's not an actual physical contact, so you don't have to worry about the switch corroding or breaking off or getting loose, because it's a magnet inside behind those little orange things glued in there. It's a little bitty magnet, but I can get the magnets, but they're the size of a pencil eraser, and they're really strong. You can take a screwdriver and be like 3 inches from it, and it'll freaking pull the screwdriver to it, or the magnet can pull over to it. So it's a really strong little magnet. Can't remember what kind of magnet it's called, but it's really strong. But let's talk about the manual. It comes with a manual, and it comes with some like installation instructions and stuff like that. Some goofy little pictures there of the guy getting his head shocked, I guess. And it comes with a warranty sheet. These things come with a 3-year warranty right out of the box. They got a 30-day satisfaction guarantee on them, but they also got a 3-year warranty on them. These things, 98% of the time, last well past the 3-year warranty. Might be 8, 10, 15, 20 years before something happens to them. The lightning is about the only thing I would really worry about them. I mean, every brand's got lightning protection in them, but everything gets hit. I mean, Cyclops get hit, Speedrite, Gallagher, Parmak, they all get hit by lightning. It's just one of the names of the game. All right, so here's the manual on there. It has about 5 different languages in the thing, but here's talks about what these different what the different things are on here. It tells you what each one are. You do have a little bar graph right here. It has a row of, I think it has two red, 2 yellow, 2 green. It's like your performance gauge of how well your fence is doing. It also has a lot to do with how on this stuff here. Like you can put over to here, and it will tell you how charged up your battery is. If I can get do it, let me make sure my contacts are good. Just a second. All right, hold on. It wasn't. I can't get the thing to turn on. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this thing? It's brand new. My power supply terminal, the knob that holds the bolts on there, come loose. So I was like, when the hell is it not working? I've never seen a Gallagher be bad out of the box, and since that is rare. So now it's working. So that's my own fault. So we'll turn over to here. So I got my power supply set to 12.9 volts. See all the lights come on all the way up to the top green. So let's turn it down to 11.8. So he's like, oh, battery a little low. Let's turn it down a little lower to 10 volts, 10.4 volts. So see, it's warning you. Say, hey, it's getting low, and see these lights aren't all the way up. It's only showing up in the green. So let's see if it changes on the fly. Nope. Let's turn it down to 8.6 volts. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Now it's still telling you, hey, you got issues there. So it's kind of nice. It's a good function to have. Turn it back up. Oops, hold on here. Freaking, I gotta get that. I Gotta get that knob tightened up. There it goes. Alright, so straight up and down is off. Let's get the manual out here. I gotta educate myself a little bit on these settings here. You got a solar panel symbol, 12 volts battery symbol, and 110 volt cord symbol. So it talks about some of the yeah, see, here's your, so you can mount it outside. You can put the Gallagher makes this bracket solar panel contraption for the unit. They're not cheap, but Gallagher's got their name on it, that's why they're not cheap, but they're a good quality, and it's made for this unit. It's a standalone system. Talks about that stuff, how to mount it indoors, outdoors. Okay, here's your here's these what these symbols all mean. You got the battery check, which was self-explanatory. It said it would be displayed for approximately 10 seconds only to conserve battery. So once it, after about 10 seconds go by, the whole unit just shuts off while if you're set on the battery check mode. So after about 10 seconds, this will just shut off. So that way the thing doesn't stay on there, keep drawing on the battery. Straight up and down is off. On a little circle there, that's off. Next symbol is your solar panel. It says smart battery management. It says ensures the energizer operates continuously and the battery voltage is low due to prolonged periods of low sunlight. The energizer will reduce the stored energy and pulse rate to protect the battery from long-term damage. So that way it doesn't keep trying to pull on the battery all the time. Kind of help protect the battery so you don't drain the battery so low that it can't bring it back up again. You know, damage the cells inside the battery. Then you got battery symbol, which is the second one right here. It says energizer operates at maximum energy and normal pulse rate until 40% of the battery capacity remains. It says suitable for users who require best energizer performance and are prepared to replace the battery when needed. So if you don't have a solar panel setup on this and you have just a 12 volt battery only, you would set it to here. And so it's going to be running full bore all the time, run as hard as it can when it's supposed to, until the battery gets down to 40% of what it detects when it's hooked up to a 12 volt battery. And once it does that, then it's probably going to start slowing down, having problems. And that would mean, okay, I need to go get my, say I have a second battery on hand, bring the other battery over, swap it out, take the other battery back home, charge it back up, and run this one, run on another 12 battery. That works really well. It gets really old really quick. You got to be out there changing it probably once a week, you know, give or take on, you know, how big your battery is, maybe every 2 weeks, you know. But it'd be the one time you don't go out there and check it, battery runs down, you don't know it, and then your animals are out on the main road or in your front yard looking at you, and they're like, oh, what the hell's going on? You go out there and the battery's dead. So you got to take the battery back over, swap it out with a new one, put the old battery back on charge, and then turn your unit off, then back on again, and hey, you're ready to go. So that works. It's just, to me, it would get old after a while. So I'd probably want a solar panel setup on there. If you end up wanting to get a solar panel setup for this, give me a call. Let me help you out, because I can get you the Gallagher setup. You know, they're not cheap at all by any means, not even for a guy like me to buy them, are expensive. But we can get you sourced with another solar panel setup, and it's a cheaper cost. Probably won't be as pretty as this is, because they got a whole thing set up for this unit, how it mounts and how it wires. It would be a real simple setup, but it's expensive. So we can help you out with the right size solar panel, the right bracket for you and everything, get you all wire on a regulator for the panel, get it all wired up for you, and be probably half the cost of, or not less than what Gallagher wants for theirs. They got mains power, which is AC plug-in. You plug it into an outlet, you don't have to worry about 12 volt or solar. You just plug in the wall. It's got continuous power all the time. So Energizer operates at maximum energy and normal pulse rate, suitable for indoor permanent installation where mains power is available. So if you got so if you can run this off of AC power, and you're not worried, and you don't have to worry about 12 volt, but you wanted the 12 volt battery option in case the power gets knocked out because you live in a really bad area for storms and stuff like that, a dual power unit probably would be nice to have. But just that way your animals stay in place, or maybe you're trying to protect sheep from wolves or coyotes or whatever, from other predators, you know, then maybe having a dual power unit would be good. But if you want just straight plug-in power, they do make an 8 joule straight plug-in powered unit called M800. They're about a couple $100 cheaper than what this one goes for. So you're paying for the paying for the power, but you're also paying for the dual power, part of it, 12 volt or AC. And then they tell you about the output voltage. Now on these lights, so let's just go ahead and we'll just put it on. We've got it set on 12 volts, so let's turn to 12 volt. I'll show you what it means by that. Now this light, it will show all the way in the top green as long as your fence is pretty clean. Now let's pull these knobs off. And one thing about that gauge is it will change on the fly depending on what kind of weed load you have. So if your fence is pretty clean, you should go all the way in the green. If you got some problems, it might go in the lower green or in the yellow. But if you got some bad problems, it might only go in the red. So that's kind of a real quick glance. You can walk over, look at it. If it shows a green, just keep on walking about your day. So we're getting almost 10,000 volts out of it, 9.7, probably pretty close to 10. Now let's put a standard 500 ohm load on there and see if it drops down the gauge at all. Now it will drop the voltage down, so we'll put this back on here so you can see we're going to put a load on it. We're going to put two different loads. We're going to do the standard 500 ohm load. Let's see, it's probably going to drop down a little bit, probably not by a lot. We're getting about 5,000, maybe between 5 and 6, almost 7. And you can see how the lights drop down into the middle green there. Now let's put a heavier load on it. This is 150 ohm or something like that, so it's a lot closer to zero, so it's going to drag it down even harder. So this will probably drop down to the yellow or the red. So it's in the, see how that gauge is falling down real low, and it's only in the yellow. So this would tell you, walk by and your lights are only doing this, you know you got problems. But if you unhook the fence, ground, plug it back, you turn it back on, it goes all the way back in the green, okay, charger's fine, problem my fence. But that means you need to go out there and check on your fence, see what's shorting out somewhere. Even the 100 ohm load, it's still putting out almost 4,000, about 3,500, 3,800, somewhere in that range. Oh shit. See, the 500 ohm load, we're about 6. Oh, so let's see what kind of, beside that little pop we just did a minute ago, let's put this wire here. I'm going to put a spark gap, see what kind of spark it jumps. Pretty nice pop to it. Turn it off. We're just put the knobs back on for this. We're going to put it back in the box and get this box up to ship back to the customer, because it belongs to him, not me. So, but yeah, this Gallagher's a good, solid product. I mean, if you're looking for one, we'll be happy to help you out. Like I said, we're a repair place primarily, but if you want to look up one for you and see if we can get you one, we'll definitely help you out. If you want to help out the little guy, give me a call or shoot me a text or email, and we'll be happy to help you figure out what might work for you. And then like I said, Gallagher makes everything from small units to big units. They got every size in between. They got a bunch of different solar units. They've got dual powered units. They got straight AC, straight 12 volt. They got every size in between, kind in between. So that's it for this video. We're gonna get this on its way to the customer and send it on down the road. So if you got any other questions, give us a holler.